The Season 3 finale of Apple TV Foundation represents a watershed moment in television science fiction, delivering what may be one of the most ambitious narrative climaxes ever attempted in the genre. Based loosely on Isaac Asimov's legendary book series, but forging its own distinctive path, the episode titled The Darkness brings together multiple complex storylines that have been building throughout the season, and indeed across the entire series. Under the guidance of showrunner David S. Goyer, who departed after this season, the series has never been afraid to take bold creative risks with its source material, transforming Asimov's largely conceptual and dialogue-driven stories into a visually spectacular and emotionally charged dramatic experience. The season finale operates on multiple narrative levels. It resolves some long-running conflicts while introducing shocking new twists that fundamentally reshape the series' trajectory. The episode explores the limits of control, how even the most powerful rulers, prophets, and planners ultimately confront the unruly currents of human will and random chance. As Hari Seldon, Jared Harris, warned in the very first episode, the center cannot hold. And this finale delivers on that promise with devastating precision. The galactic chessboard that has been carefully arranged across 3 seasons is now crowded with players: emperors, rebels, prophets, imposters. But the game has descended into chaos, with the established order collapsing under its own weight and new threats emerging from unexpected quarters. In what may be the most controversial deviation from Asimov's source material, the Season 3 finale reveals that Beta Mallow, Synnöve Carlson, not Magnifico Giganticus, is the true Mule, pulling the strings behind the galactic conquest. This revelation comes after what appears to be Gaal's victory over the character portrayed by Pilou Asbak, who has been presented as the Mule throughout the season. After Gaal seemingly kills Asbak's character, she continues to feel a psychic presence invading her mind, leading to the shocking moment when Bayta enters and declares, "I am the Mule." This twist represents a radical reimagining of one of science fiction's most famous reveals. In Asimov's 1952 novel Foundation and Empire, the clownish Magnifico Giganticus is ultimately revealed to be the powerful mentalic mutant known as the Mule. The television adaptation subverts this expectation by making Bayta, who in the books was the heroine who defeated the Mule, the primary antagonist instead. The show's writers made this change specifically to surprise audiences familiar with the books, recognizing that the original twist might be expected by many viewers. Bayta's transformation from victim to villain in Episode 3. Bayta, introduced as a socialite, establishing her cover identity. In Episode 6, flashback to childhood trauma, origin of her mentalic powers. In Episode 9, hospital scene with Dawn, subtle display of her influence. In Episode 10, revealed as the true Mule, ultimate payoff of season-long foreshadowing. The series provides psychological motivation for Bayta's transformation into the Mule through flashbacks. Earlier in the season, we see her as a young girl on a planet that enforced a brutal one-child policy. When her parents give birth to a baby boy, whom they try to hide, the baby is discovered, and authorities force the parents to choose between their children. They choose the boy, and attempt to drown Bayta, which unleashes her mentalic powers for the first time. Though she survives, she is forever scarred by this abandonment, developing a pathological need to force the entire galaxy to love her, a dark mirror of Gaal's own journey. Carlson notes that Bayta's villainy is nuanced. It's not like she's some evil genius, either. In all these scenes that she's in, it's genuine. She's acting towards this genuine goal. She's genuinely in love with Torin Mallow. So it's not like she's lying to everyone all the time. It's just, there's something that she hasn't quite said. This complexity makes her a fascinating antagonist. Not merely power-hungry, but motivated by deep psychological wounds and a twisted desire to create unity through control. Gaal's confrontation with the Mule represents the culmination of her 152-year journey, in and out of cryosleep, to prevent the future she witnessed. She enters the battle having built a fortress inside my mind, with everyone she's lost, from Hari to Salvor, forming the walls of that psychic fortress. When she initially defeats Asbak's character, who functions as Bayta's puppet, she believes her long mission is complete, only to discover that the real threat remains. In the aftermath of Bayta's revelation, Gaal manages to escape by throwing herself out of a window and riding the planet's air currents like a broken-winged bird, until a ship catches her mid-fall, a sequence that required elaborate choreography and was filmed across 3 different locations, with wirework and extensive stunt coordination. This escape, while spectacular, leaves her diminished and alone. The worst we've left her, according to Lou Lobel. She retreats with the realization that her centuries-long preparation was inadequate against this unexpected threat, setting up a dramatic power shift for Season 4. In perhaps the most shocking narrative thread of the finale, Brother Dusk, Terrence Mann, completes his transformation from aging emperor to nihilistic destroyer, embracing the title Brother Darkness that all Cleons receive on their final day. Facing his impending ascension, the ritualized euthanasia that maintains the cycle of the Genetic Dynasty, Dusk instead chooses to destroy the entire system. In one of the series' most visually striking and brutal sequences, he detonates explosives in the Imperial cloning facility, resulting in a gruesome rain of blood and body parts, as the countless backup clones of Dawn, Day, and Dusk are destroyed. This act of symbolic suicide represents the ultimate rejection of Cleon I's vision of perpetual rule through genetic duplication. As Dusk himself states, if Hari Seldon has predicted a millennium of darkness, hey, if you can't beat him, his transformation into Brother Darkness is complete. He has become the embodiment of collapse that Seldon predicted, choosing to actively accelerate the destruction rather than resist it. This mirrors real-world patterns, where declining powers sometimes choose destructive strategies when preservation seems impossible. Demerzel's arc in the finale represents one of the series' most heartbreaking tragedies. After millennia of service to the Genetic Dynasty, she comes within inches of freedom when Brother Day presents her with the Brazen Head, a recovered robot skull that could potentially override her programming constraints instituted by Cleon I. The series introduces the concept of clasping, a way for robots to share one mind that could potentially free Demerzel from her programming compulsions. Here is Table of Key Deaths in Foundation Season 3 finale. Tragically, just as Day attempts to convince Demerzel to connect with the device, her programming forces her to respond to Dusk's attack on the cloning facility. In the finale's most emotionally devastating sequence, Dusk uses a baby Cleon clone as bait, placing it in the path of the Ascension Chamber's disintegration beam. Demerzel's core programming compels her to protect the Imperial line, so she throws herself on the child, just as the beam activates, resulting in both being vaporized. Her death represents the ultimate triumph of her programming over her desire for freedom. She dies as she lived, bound to service against her will. Brother Day, Lee Pace, undergoes perhaps the most dramatic character transformation in the finale, completing an arc that has stretched across 3 seasons. Once the embodiment of Imperial vanity and violence, memorably parading naked into battle in Season 2, He ends his journey in a posture of humility, kneeling before Demerzel and pleading with her to accept freedom. Pace notes that this character evolution only works because the show had spent 2 seasons building a man you'd never expect to think for himself. Day's downfall comes from an earlier decision that returns to haunt him.
In Episode 4, he removed his Imperial Nanites, the technology that allows Cleons to heal from injuries, as part of a deal with First Claviger Mavon. When he attacks Dusk to avenge Demerzel's death, Dusk reveals that Demerzel herself told him about Day's vulnerability, and he shoots Day, who bleeds out like any ordinary human. His death marks the end of an era. Without clones to replace him, the Genetic Dynasty effectively dies with him, though Brother Dawn remains alive elsewhere in the galaxy. In the episode's closing moments, a mysterious development occurs that promises to expand the series' mythology in dramatic fashion. The brazen head, the robot skull that Day brought back from Mycogen, suddenly activates, its eyes glowing as it announces, "Handshake signal received and negotiated." It initiates a clasp connection with an unknown entity, transmitting a signal across the galaxy to a surprising location, Earth's moon. The scene then shifts to reveal a group of robots on a lunar base near Earth, which, in this far-future setting, has noticeably different coastlines. Their leader appears to be Kalle, Rowena King, the mysterious figure who has appeared throughout the series as Harry Seldon's late wife. This revelation confirms long-standing fan theories about Kalle's true nature and connection to the ancient robot race that was supposedly destroyed in the Robot Wars. This development fundamentally expands the series' scope, introducing a third major power alongside the Foundation and the Empire. According to David S. Goyer, this revelation was originally planned for Season 5, but was moved forward to coincide with the fall of Empire. The robots' return from hiding suggests they will play a major role in the coming seasons, potentially fulfilling their original Asimovian purpose as protectors of humanity, but possibly with their own agenda. At its core, the Foundation Season 3 finale explores profound philosophical questions about control, freedom, and the relationship between individual agency and historical forces. Each major character grapples with these themes in different ways. Gaal's journey represents the struggle to maintain autonomy against seemingly predetermined futures. Her entire arc has been about resisting the tyranny of prophecy. First, Seldon's plan, then her vision of the Mule. Her failure to anticipate Bayta's true nature demonstrates the limitations of even enhanced human perception against determined deception. Demerzel's tragedy embodies the tension between programming and free will. Despite her immortality and power, she remains a prisoner of code written millennia earlier. Her death comes just as she glimpses the possibility of freedom, making her sacrifice all the more poignant. Brother Dusk's transformation into darkness illustrates how those who cannot adapt to change often choose destruction instead. His nihilistic turn reflects a mindset that would rather burn everything down than accept diminished influence. Bayta's reveal as the Mule explores how trauma can distort the desire for connection into a need for control. Her statement that she can accomplish in a single year what psychohistory would take centuries demonstrates the seductive appeal of authoritarian solutions to complex problems. The finale suggests that true freedom lies not in resisting historical forces, but in understanding and navigating them, a core idea of Asimov's psychohistory concept. As Pace notes, the show asks questions, it doesn't try to give answers, which is to kind of excite the conversation. Despite resolving several major storylines, the Season 3 finale carefully plants numerous narrative seeds for future seasons. The Mule's continuing threat. Bayta remains at large, with her mentalic powers largely intact, still controlling the Foundation's territory through her puppet network. Her confrontation with Gaal has been delayed rather than concluded. Brother Dawn's survival. As the last remaining Cleon clone, Dawn represents a potential restoration of the Genetic Dynasty, or perhaps its reformation into something new. His location and allegiance remain unclear following the chaos on New Terminus. The Second Foundation's mission. With Demerzel's final act connecting Ambassador Quent with Prime Palver and the Second Foundation, Seldon's backup plan is now activated. Their conflict with the Mule will likely form a central plotline in Season 4. The robots return. The activation of the robot network and their presence on Earth's moon introduces a wildcard into the galactic power balance. Their agenda and capabilities remain mysterious, but potentially game-changing. Hari Seldon's fate. The digital Hari remains trapped in his vault on New Terminus, having learned that his physical self died long ago and that Gaal has been lying to him. His role in future events remains uncertain, but undoubtedly significant. With the series already renewed for Season 4 under new showrunners Ian Goldberg and David Cobb, who have Goyer's outlined plans, these threads will likely be explored in depth. The stage is set for a three-way conflict between the remnants of Empire, Bayta's mentalic dominion, and the emerging Robot Alliance, all with the Foundations caught in the middle. The Foundation Season 3 finale represents both a faithful adaptation and a bold reimagining of Asimov's classic themes. While purists may quibble with specific deviations from the source material, particularly the Mule's identity, the episode captures the essential spirit of Asimov's exploration of historical forces, human agency, and the complex interplay between determinism and free will.
The series has successfully transformed Asimov's largely conceptual and dialogue-driven stories into a visually spectacular narrative with deep emotional resonance. By expanding characters like Demerzel and the Cleons beyond their book counterparts, the show has created a rich dramatic tapestry that maintains the intellectual heft of the original while adding compelling human and robotic dimensions. The finale leaves its characters in deliberately precarious positions. Gaal isolated and diminished, Empire reduced to a single mad ruler, the Mule triumphant but opposed, and ancient forces stirring in the shadows. This narrative boldness, willing to dismantle established structures and confront audiences with uncomfortable questions, is what sets Foundation apart as one of television's most ambitious and intellectually engaging science fiction series. As we look toward Season 4, the series appears poised to continue its exploration of the central question posed in the finale. What kind of faith sustains us when the future remains uncertain, and control was never ours to begin with? In an age of existential uncertainty, this question has never been more relevant, and Foundation's willingness to grapple with it without easy answers represents both its greatest challenge and its most remarkable achievement.